seen the videos circulating, 2003 banknotes circulating now. Because of this policy, a lot of people are bringing it out. The question to you is that, do you even think that with this redesign, people will still not hoard money?
Okay, I think with this redesign may not necessarily prevent people hoarding money, but they are hoarding it at their own is at their own risk, because if you have money and if you put it into system and we don't have so much cash in circulation, assuming if we have policies that says you can't withdraw certain limit of money, if we reduce the threshold for withdrawal on ATMs, I don't see anybody that will be drawing 500,000 in another client cash. For what? If you want to transfer it legitimately, you have other channels that you can transfer. You have the Naira, you have the electronic channels, you have so many platforms where you can use to do legitimate transactions regardless of the volume of the money. You don't need to carry the cash. It's the cash that is the problem. It's costing us to do a lot of, it's a cost to us. It affects the way we even destroy the money at the end of the life cycle, because we have to destroy it, and then we don't want to contribute to the deflation of the ozone layers by burning. So we have to look for people who will use sustainable means of recycling some of it, either the polymer by producing pellets that they can use to produce other items, or the paper where they can use to produce things like notebooks and so on. So if after this exercise, remember the last time such a massive exercise was done was 1984, because all we had was restructuring, introducing new denominations or adding the levels of denominations that we have. It's not going to stop people who want to hoard money, but then we are also thinking of how to make it difficult for people to hoard this money, because we know the penchant for the kind of money they keep. 88% of the money, which is about 2.9 trillion out of 3.2, is from two denominations, 500 and 1,000, which means people are keeping them. If you go to banks, you don't see them. They don't bring them back for processing and recirculation, and it's a big problem for us.
Okay.
Yes.
I hope my guys caught that a lot of people, the monies they hoard is 500 naira and 1,000 naira. Mostly. Okay, Dr. Mahmoud, let's come to you now with the cash component out now, about 3 trillion naira, and what the central bank is doing. If we take a look at monetary policy, the cash component, or money supply rather, the cash component of this money supply is about 2.7 or 3 trillion. Let me put that. How do you think that it will influence total money supply, which is about 48 trillion naira? Because if you take a look at others, I hope you are the one in charge. So how do you think that little component of money supply, which is cash, would influence monetary policy, which your department is in charge of?
Yeah, okay, I think...
do you understand what I'm saying? In terms of the deficiency is there already. So there's no how this would even... the deficiency is there.
Yeah, it will have significant improvement in terms of the signaling function of monetary policy tools. And let me explain it this way. The main monetary function of central bank is price stability. The three key prices are exchange rate, inflation rate, interest rate. Those are the prices that we are looking at. And the central bank's mandate is to, ensure the stability, transparency, and discovery of those prices. The tools that central bank uses are interest rate, what we call money market interest rates. The anchor rates, the OBB, treasury bills, those are the rates they use. And what they use to change those rates is money supply, just like you said. So, and that money supply, it covers the transmission channel for implementing this monetary policy tool is the banking system, is deposit with the banks, and Omar explained the entire component of currency in circulation. That other component is outside the banking system. That means this short-term monetary policy tools that I'm talking about, anchors, the money market OBB rates, cannot influence the behavior of that quantity of money outside of the banking system. So if you increase NPR, for example, you want to tighten, and substantial volume of that money that you even want to squeeze into the system so that, rates can go up is outside of the system. That volume of money that is outside of the system can be used to, disorganize whatever you plan to do. That same volume of money can be used to hit the FX market, pressure in the FX market, and as we have explained here several times, there's a very smooth transmission from FX, Naira depreciation, and inflation. So from that corner, you can see that if you're able to control that volume, so that demand pressure on FX will cease. And
but we've not seen that even already.
When did it start?
The announcement was done last week, and we've seen even the Naira depreciate further at the parallel market. That's one. The number two question for you is that is it also because the central bank is seeing a failure in monetary policy, so to speak? That is why it's a backing on this. That even the central bank governor did speak a bit on the reasons doing it. That these monies are outside of our bank vaults. So if you don't have a hold of that, affecting your department or your directorate.
Yeah, two issues you raised. One, the depreciation that we're seeing in the parallel market now. You see, we in central bank, we do our reasoning with numbers based on some fundamentals. What is happening in the parallel market now is not driven by fundamentals. It's people that have, maybe panic is there, uncertainty is there. You send some things to us, different stories going up. So even people that don't even know what the outcome will be, everybody is rushing to, okay, let me hold dollars, since maybe dollars will be. But if you look at it in reality, what we use in central bank to determine exchange rate is trade. It's exchange of goods and services. That's what we do, import and export. It's not people panicking. Even though when we're looking at those behavior, we also look at certain scenarios that are behavioral. It's not that we don't look at it in our research. But what is happening there, and any reason central will not start jumping up, dollar is 800 Naira. No. It doesn't really add up. And that will fizzle out. It's because of this panic.
So you're saying it's like, what's in the foreign exchange market now, is a bubble?
It is a bubble. It's not even a bubble. It's I don't know what to use for it. It's panic. Is uncertainty driven by maybe arbitrage, maybe by I don't know how to put it. But it's what I'm just trying to establish is that it's not driven by the fundamentals of the market. The market exists for efficient price discovery. So we don't want to be. Central bank will not panic like the public. In terms of, okay, let's do something. If you pump $2 billion into that market today, it will go. And we don't have those kind of resources to just wait because of speculation. So that is one side of it. The other side of it, of your question, has to do with whether we have seen that monetary policy has failed. I will put it this other way, that monetary policy, which the main key tool I told you we use is the MPR. The signaling effect of MPR is weak. So that means the transmission mechanism is not that efficient. That we can accept because we don't see the pass-through immediately. And what this is trying to do, or this is redefining this space from monetary policy side, is to make sure that our tools are potent, such that if you apply it, the expected outcome will be achieved optimally, not suboptimally. Because optimally I mean to the expected outcome, to the maximum, instead of seeing things. When we increase the MPR, we expected inflation numbers to stop because we are tightening. So demand is also stifled. So when there are not too much money, too much people looking for that thing, the price started going down. But we don't see that coming up immediately. It also has to do with the potential of the monetary policy tools you are using. So the argument of allowing this substantial part of the money coming into within the system of the central bank so that it can be able to monitor that and use money supply, because our monetary policy framework now we're using, we call it monetary aggregate, framework. And monetary aggregate means the total volume of money. Yes, so you use it, you either pull it out of the system, keep it with the CBN to make rates go up, or you release it to the banks and the investors to make rates go down. So we are not achieving that because of that. But other side effects that are coming out of people bringing money into the public or targeting the FX market, those are side effects that, yes, we observe them, but we don't panic and take decision to respond to that.
Okay, let me come to you, sir. A lot of people are also of the view that the Central Bank of Nigeria did not need to do this and say, give us a time frame, as at when the governor announced it last week till January 31, that it could as well have been introduced, you know, and when you go to the bank, you exchange your, they will give you the new notes and all of that. That's one question. The second part of my question is, for people that have kept so much money, at least, in fact, I've been doing my own investigations with these BDC guys since last week, and the BDC guy told me that in fact someone like asked them ₦1 billion in cash and is looking for dollars. Now, is the Central Bank of Nigeria working with the EFCC, for example, targeting those individuals? Because the word on the street also, why people are looking for dollars is that, oh, if I have ₦1 billion, just like the governor did answer the question last week, if you have ₦1 billion, just bring it to the bank, deposit, and we will not charge you for it. But some people that have such would have the view that when they bring it to the bank, CBN or AFCC arrest them. That's the second part of the question.
So let me just address the first one.
Yes.
The first one is on, you said it's on what? So that I don't miss the question.
No, the first, I've lost my train of thought now. Okay, just answer the second, I'll remember the first.
The second one is in relation to why are we doing it within a short time?
Yes.
Basically, CBN is a law-abiding institution. We have an act way back 1971, Decimal Currency Act of 1971. It prescribes 3 months notice to people and open window for them to do. From the day the governor of Central Bank made the announcement, it's over 97 days for any person with genuine money to exchange. And the reason why he said, you know, we had issue about whether there's a limit to what people can bring back. The main thing is that you have a valid account that has a BBN. If it's your money, bring it in. There is no limit. We have seen people circulating some false information that the Director of Currency has issued a circular that if you are opening a new account, you only pay 5 million and for individual account, and then for corporate account, you do only 50 million per month. There was never any threshold, there was no ceiling that was placed.
I think we have that message. If we have that message, let's flash it on the screen.
The only requirement is that you must put that money in a validly open account with all the KYCs and that is there. If it is your money, put it there, we'll receive it. And I believe over 97 days is enough for people to change this. We are not changing the entire denominations. We are only doing 3 out of 8 denominations. People have freedom to use 100 Naira downward for the period. And the deposit is not starting on the 15th of December. Is starting from the date of that announcement. In addition, CBN has allowed all its branches to open for businesses on Saturday to receive deposits from commercial banks. And banks too have informed their customers that if you have money, you can bring it up to even on a Saturday, so that we can collect and then deposit with Central Bank.
Okay, the first question which I lost my train of thought, because so much to talk about is the gradual withdrawal that people were saying, why I could as well gone to the bank. If I deposit at a counter, I'll be given a new Naira note. So you just gradually withdraw the old notes from the system, instead of just giving us that time frame that if you don't do it by January 31, you seize those your old currencies will not be legal tenders.
Okay, let me reiterate. We are not doing the exchange.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, not exchange.
The key word is that we are not doing exchange.
Yes.
The fact that you deposit 1 billion Naira is in your account. You will use it to do all your transactions. But that doesn't mean that we will give you 1 billion Naira cash to go home.
No currency, no.
Which means the whole thing we have done is exercise in futility. We are not going to allow people to carry cash. And we will hopefully we'll roll our cashless policy after the 31st of January, so that you are free to transact to any amount with your money. But that doesn't mean that we are not going to print 3.2 trillion Naira in exchange for the ones we are mopping. We are not.
Do you have an idea of how much you're printing?
Well, let's say 1/3.
The percentage.
Yeah, we can say 1/3 of what we have.
Yeah. Okay. Then the other thing is, the other question I want to ask you is that I don't know if I'm preempting the launch, when the president will launch December 15, but a lot of people have also asked that question. The 200 naira, 500 naira, 1,000 naira notes, will they be in paper forms or will they be polymer?
Well, I'm not in a position to say we'll wait for the launch on the 15th of December by Mr. President.
Okay, I just needed to ask that.
We don't want to give some people a head on, because I know the counterfeiters are busy now trying to see a glimpse of what it is. So they should calm down.
Okay, so
December 15 will come and go, so they should calm down.
Okay, that brings me to the aspect of, we've addressed that WhatsApp message, because in fact, someone sent it to me yesterday. Let's take that slide again. You've heard the Director Currency Operations say, this is not true. So for everyone that is circulating that on social media, this is entirely not true. You've heard it here, that is not true. The second part is, I don't know if you've also seen videos circulating, 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira notes being minted. I also do know that the last time the Central Bank of Nigeria thought of printing a new note, 5,000 naira, was during the Sanusi days, which President Jonathan halted. So please address that, because that is also going on now.
Well, we put in some messages on our Twitter handle informing people.
But not everybody.
I understand. This is a far-reaching medium for people to get the message. I want to reiterate that CBN has no intention of doing any 2,000 or 5,000 naira. The highest denomination remains 1,000 naira. Anybody who you see with such kind of notes, if they exist, I know the video was the redesign announcement. If you have anybody who has them, please hand them over to the Naira security agency, because it's all fake, so that people will not be duped on the basis that we are introducing new money. And surprisingly, when you see the nature of even the faces on the note, it's just so terribly done that it doesn't look like a note for a country like Nigeria. Okay. So no 2,000, no 5,000. People should be aware.
What is the life cycle of the Naira? Because of course you are the director in charge of that department. What is the life cycle of the Naira from when you mint to distribute or store, then eventual destruction? What is the life cycle? Bearing in mind that when you go to even ATMs and all of that, you see a lot of old Naira notes. What is the life cycle?
Ideally, every year what we do for an indent, we do something we call demand supply, and that demand supply looks at what will likely be required in the system based on some indices that you have. Then you know within the year you withdraw some of them that are bad, and then you do the replacement of those ones. Assuming if you replace 25% of what you produce in this year are bad, you will take them out and replace them. So when you are determining your indent, you look at that. But the Naira has a very big problem, because the way people handle it is not good, because of the volume people carry. Ordinarily, people, I don't see in other clients people carrying words of say 200,000. But in Nigeria, people will carry that through inside their bag, in their boot, in their houses, on their floors, and so on. We always do campaigns for clean notes. We arrest people who hog this money for spraying. And you know that spraying too.
But it's still going on.
I know.
What is every Saturday after one day you see?
The issues around that, the reason why people have not stopped is because the punishment that was envisaged in 1991 as 50,000 or six months in imprisonment is 2 lakhs. It's 2 lakhs. So there is a need to amend that law for people to know that there is accountability for doing the wrong thing. And because of the other factor is that if you look at the West African sub-region, this Naira is used freely in our neighboring markets, like all the grain markets and so on. Even in Ghana, you can pay a taxi with a Naira. And in some countries, in Niger, they will accept the Naira for goods, because they will come to buy things from Nigeria. It's a good thing for our currency to have that level of acceptability. But the way people handle it is one of the factors that is making us to spend more money in producing new notes. Otherwise, genuine note, if you handle it, it's not going to ruffle, it's not going to be torn, it's not going to be soiled. So what people do now, when they give you some of the money, the kind of order that comes to it, you start wondering whether this is because of the way the story is.
Okay, I want to get exactly. So are you saying that you withdraw and replace within the year, and the banks are not giving their customers, because I know there was also a time that we were, some time ago, was it last year or so, that of course, I think it was the central bank governor that also said that, new note, because talking about the old note, there were so many mutilated notes around.
Yes, it's the way it's because of the way people handle this money. If they keep them properly, why you need to have 50 million on the floor? You don't need to have. If you need whatever money, but what I'm just emphasizing is that people should get this straight, that we are not doing a direct exchange. We are not printing the exact number of notes to replace the ones that we are withdrawing. But your money, you can use your money anyhow you want to use it. There are other channels. The Naira too is there. This is an opportunity for us to use the Naira and for us to use the electronic channels that they are severally available in the country. Nigeria's payment system has developed very much compared to where we are maybe 20, 30 years ago. That
brings me to the question of the rural population. Dr. Mahmoud, I'll come to you in a bit. The rural population, if you go to many villages in Nigeria right now, banks are not there. We also know with the advent of technology, a lot of banks have right-sized, a lot of banks have closed shop. How do you expect the rural population to be able to be part of this process? At the end of the day, like in a year's time, you don't go to one village and you see one woman, how 1,000 naira is still there. She said, I couldn't change it, I don't know. And that has gone to waste.
Okay. The redesign exercise has taken into cognizance the fact that it is not in every community that you have a bank. But then, if you look at the number of banks we have in Nigeria, 33, they are enough for people to do legitimate business. Apart from that, you have the microfinance banks. All you need to do to exchange this money is to have a valid account. If you don't have, go to the bank, either microfinance bank or
there are some villages that don't have microfinance bank. There are some people too that can't travel to another village because it's far and they don't have money.
We have agents. We have the shared agents network, SANEF. So we are working with them, and they are going to cover all those areas.
How about those agents too?
You have them in every town or motor park and motor parks in many villages. So I don't envisage any problem, and the quantum is not much for those people. Most of those people in the village, the denominations they will have will be in the region of those 5 that are still subsisting. So the ones that, all the ones that concern is the volume that will come from the 500 and the 1,000 that we anticipate. I don't see so much money coming from, because we are not exchanging the other ones. People will still use them. And that's why even now you see what people are withdrawing now. People are using 200 mostly, because they are using 150 and so on, because that one is still in use and there's no deadline on it. So if I believe the rural areas mostly don't have that kind of volume that we'll be scared of. But we'll be on the watch out, and we'll listen to people who will make suggestions for us to be able to capture all this one. But we are working with the shared agents network, SANEF, for them to be able to help us, and then the POS and so on. The only requirement is that you have an account where to put the money. You must have a valid account. We are not going to put the money in anybody's account. As far as we are concerned, you have an account that is KYC. They know it is you. So you put your money. If it is 1 Naira or 1 billion, it's none of our business. Put it there.
Okay. Dr. Mahmoud, now we're getting feedback from people that are watching, and let's just take that quickly. Dr. Mahmoud, this question will be for you. This is coming from Cool_Daniel on Twitter, and he's asking, how will this new currency tackle the rate of inflation in Nigeria? Won't it increase operational pressure on the financial system and commercial banks?
I think I just explained that in the first part of my intervention. And what we're saying is, and Governor also mentioned it during his press conference, it did not say that because we redesign money, inflation will go down. That's not what we're saying. But we're saying that our ability to use the tools that we are statutorily, have to address short-term, volatility in money market rates, including inflation, will be more efficient in us being able to address that our mandate. That's why we are not saying that because we have redesigned in December 15, by July 2023, we should be seeing inflation at 17, 16. No, we're not saying that there's a direct correlation like that, but we're saying that for us to be more potent, for monetary policy efficiency and transmission, the more we're able to have a control over the quantity of money within the economy, the better it is, the optimal outcome we will get. One thing I want people to also realize that is we are not doing, Central Bank is not doing this because there are no alternatives. We have invested so much on cashless. We have invested so much on financial inclusion, so much on payment system, infrastructure, sophistication. We're number one in Africa. So there are a lot of other channels that have provided. We've just launched Naira. All these are cost implications that are providing alternative channels for you to, make a payment. So forget the idea of saying this cash is because that people are still not looking at that side. Director Currency also mentioned, even in the rural areas, I can tell you now, even the guys that repair machines or something, things with, they can do USSD transfers on your phone. You see adverts that they do even on AIT, where people go and dance at a particular shop and say, I've paid my money, you are still in the queue. So, and it's not like they're doing 1 million, 2 million. They're doing 1,500, 3,000. So there are many outlets for you to explore. And we want people to adopt it. So we're more or less pushing people to adopt. It's safer, it's neater, it's also cost efficient, in the sense that, different stories come up that, because of that, crimes will increase, people. But it's when you have cash that crimes increase. And I remember a time long ago that security experts were giving us induction, and they will tell you that because of the high rate of robbery, please keep some cash at home. Because when they come and they don't have cash, they will beat you. But when you know that nationwide there's no cash, unless you take the person to the bank and collect the money, which every camera is seeing you, then you see, so those motivations to do all those illegalities are also being curtailed by this. So let's move with the trend of the world. Okay. Let's not just sit back and just be living in cash society with all the negativities of it. And the lower denominations are still there.
Okay, another question coming in on Twitter from Hilary saying, is the Naira redesigning responsible for the pressures on the Naira versus dollar lately at the parallel market? I think I asked that earlier, so that question has been answered. Mayos on Twitter is, to what extent will this currency design be effective, and what will the economic implications if the purpose is not met? That's for you, Director. And also add to this, to the question, since we've seen the payment system being sophisticated, at least in the last few years, at least Nigerian payment system, it's somewhat sophisticated to some other, even some other developed countries. Has the volume of printing of the Naira reduced since we've started seeing? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Is there a reduction in the volume that is being printed because of e-transactions?
Yes, in the last, this is the 5th year, we had a plan for 5 years under the Arima X formula that we applied for us to consistently reduce the volume of cash and the cost of minting. Over the years, every year, we always reduce the volume we produce. This is the 5th year that we are doing that. So consistently, we have been reducing the volume of cash that we mint because of the maturity of the payment system that we see all over the place. And in the last 5 years, if you notice, it has been remarkably noticeable. In fact, some parts of the world are saying that Nigeria's payment system is rated very high, maybe among the top 4 in the world, because we can do. And now with the PAPs, we are hoping that when there is a synergy completely with the PAPs and all the new things that we're doing with the cross-border, with the Naira, by the time we go to the next phase, we are hoping that people who move even around the West African sub-region don't need to carry this cash to do their business. It is going to be more convenient. It is going to be more efficient. You don't need to carry anything. You don't need to lose. All you need to remember is either your password or your device, which you do to do a particular transaction. So for us, it has been a long thought plan to reduce the cost of minting. Because apart from the minting, even carrying all this volume of money across Nigeria to 37 locations, it's a lot of money.
Okay, that brings me to the question of a lot of people. Someone even sent that message to us yesterday, which I read as part of the feedbacks. Who are those in charge of printing these currencies? We have 8 currencies in circulation, yes. Which company does it, because a lot of people still feel that we print our money abroad. So I want you to address that. Then number 2, since you said earlier that we have 8 currencies in circulation and 3 are just being redesigned, what has happened to Nigerian coins? Because a lot of people have also argued that for the fact that we don't have coins in the system has also impacted the rate of inflation. You go to the US, cents is there, pounds and what do they call it, pence or so, and some other pesewas in Ghana. We don't have coins anymore. Are you still printing coins or minting coins? What exactly is the problem?
Okay, let me take the coins first. The issue of coins, we have had some directions even from the National Assembly to put the coins into effective use. We are still thinking of the best way. You know, the problem we have is the best way to use it. You remember when we were using coins then, we had telephone booths that use coins. We had parking meters in Lagos that you can put slot coins and do it. But now you have to think of what to do with the coins. And the pricing system in this country is rounded up. We don't do 0.99. You understand? Everybody is just 100 Naira, 200 Naira, round off. So you find that issue is, and that's one of the key things that was behind the initiative for the e-Naira, change. People don't get change. Even when we issue the lower denominations, it doesn't get to people. You understand? So what we said was, with the e-Naira now, you pay exactly. There is no change problem that you have. Many filling stations, we have one brand of filling station that's adopted. We have so many merchants that have done, because we have over 3,000 merchants that are going to use they are using the e-Naira now, even in Abuja and different places. We are hoping more will come on board, because at the beginning there could be skepticism on what we'll do. But for the coins, we'll look at a better way to use it, because the purchasing power parity of that coin itself is an issue. You have to, what will that cost buy now? Because of the way things have moved up. So those are some of the issues. But we have not done minting of coins for a long time. I think over almost 20 years now. Wow. We have them, because I know they are out there, people are using, but there are some rural areas, they use it on the local level. Far north, if you go there, people still use the 5 Naira. I've not seen coins in no, wait, if you go like the 5 Naira, even 10 Naira, nobody uses it around Abuja or Lagos. But if you go to up north there, people are still using it. It depends on their level. You understand?
Okay, let's see if we can take other questions. Just keep them coming. I can see the questions coming in, and some of them coming in have already been answered. Let's stick with you a bit in terms of the logistics. How ready are you to deploy the new notes? You said you have, is it 18 or 19 hubs?
What we do is we distribute to 19 hubs by air. And from there we use, some of them that don't have airports, we use our branches then to move them to those 18 locations. So everywhere is covered. We have a scheme of distribution that we have been working over the years. It's very old, and we just fine tune it if there is a need to. Because like in every region we have buffers, we have where we keep buffers in every region, like the geopolitical zones, so that in case you need money in the southeast or in the southwest or in the northwest or central, we know where we keep it and we know how we move it. So if we look at somebody who doesn't have, because the demand for this cash is not going to be equal. The demand in Lagos will not be equal to the demand in Damaturu. So also the demand in Abuja will not be the same as the one in Lafia. So we will have to take into those local factors into cognizance that what is the demand for each place. Okay. And so what we have now, all the banks have been enjoined to supply the central bank with data about their branches, about their ATM locations, and how people can locate them, even on the system. Like you say, locate me for an ATM, you'll be able to say, oh, I'm in this bank A. How do I get to that bank? And then we know that some of them have more volumes. We know there are maybe some banks who don't have so much. Some of them are merchant banks, so they don't do the retail side of all that one. Okay. So there are so many factors that will go to it, and we will always be fine-tuning it to make sure that it meets solve the problem as come. But we don't anticipate any serious problem.
Okay, Director, I don't know if you've answered my last question.
Okay.
Around, you remember the question I asked? Yes, the printing, who is in charge? Is it going to be printed abroad? I know there's a Nigerian printing and minting.
Yes.
Are they in charge of printing our 8 currencies in circulation now, or do you get support from outside?
The printing and minting have been the ones that are producing all our mints, all our notes currently. So, but on the other,
contract to somebody, because someone sent it as a feedback yesterday.
See, why will we do it? People should remember that CBN is a co-investor in the mint itself. So whether they are doing this new one in the mint here is what I cannot say here. So, okay. But as far as we are concerned, we have stopped minting outside for a long time, maybe since 2014 also.
Okay. I think Governor also mentioned that this new currency redesign that is coming up, 100% will be done by NSPMC. So it's not a contract to someone to print or whatever, but completely it's going to be done by the NSPMC here in Abuja and Lagos.
Okay. Another question from MC Crow on Twitter. How do we manage this? The rates of dollar to naira is painful. How do we manage this? This is causing more harm than good to the economy. Food prices keep increasing, which is talking also about inflation. A lot of people are particular about this inflation, especially now that central bank has also been accused. Though this time is the holiday period, this time is also the election period. How do you hope to manage this inflation? You'll be having an MPC meeting this month. I'm really curious as to what would happen in the next few weeks. So how do you expect that Nigerians will be able to manage this, especially this festive season that will soon be upon us?
I think we should be mindful of something. We should not try to, comfort maybe things that we are not happy with, or illegalities within our main frame of bringing sanity into the system. If we want us to sit down and be worried about those that have 10 billion, 20 billion in their houses, and make sure that this in the first place, they are not supposed to have those kind of money. So if we want central bank policy to be able to also accommodate those people, then what is central bank for? We are trying to look at a situation of sanity, where this is what is expected and this is what is not expected. So if we start looking at, and something came into my head, if, for example, you say there's huge robbery, there's cases of armed robbery in Abuja, and then you say, okay, you bought ammunitions for the Nigerian police, a lot of ammunition, and along the line, some of this ammunition, through leakages or whatever, got into the hands of criminals. So you see criminality increase, and now you come into policy. No, because there's increase in armed robbery, don't give arms to police again. So we are looking at that other minor case and bringing it to the mainstream. So what I'm trying to say here is that we are looking at sanitizing the environment or the economic space. We are looking at seeing things being done efficiently and transparently. And when issues come up and said, okay, people are afraid because they bring in their money, EFCC will catch them or central bank will report them. For years, NFIU has included within our AMS CFT template. If you go to a bank and you deposit 50 million, it's not somebody bank staff that will report you. It's technology that will report you. And the team will just flag where it's supposed to flag. And then they will now come and invest. If your business requires you to have 50 million, nobody touches you. But if Nancy takes 50 million to a bank account, AIT, other businesses that you are doing, how do you get 50 million? So it's you that will not take it there because that is. So I think we should not be looking at those outlier cases as things we should be defending. Okay,
just we have 2 more minutes to go. The director, let me come to you. Question coming in from Ojiji Monday from Jukwe. He's saying, okay, my question is, what about the money that is already deposited in bank? I think you just have to answer.
The money, if you deposit your money today in the bank, it doesn't mean you will not use your money. You can use it to do your normal transaction electronically. You can send money to anybody. You can buy things you want to buy. Nobody stops you from using your money. And you have the option of using the other 5 denominations that are not affected in this exercise. So that's in the interim between now and 31st of January. After that one, you will have these 3 denominations there, and then they will cease to exist. and they will be taken out of the system, and we will adjust our...
Is the Apex Bank considering like a time elongation if a lot of people don't do that after January 31?
No. Even the president has confirmed that the time, 3 months, is good enough.
Okay. So, I think we'll leave it at that. We'll continue to watch the situation.
Thank you, Nancy. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming, and I hope at least we've answered a few of the questions. Oh, Uche, your question is coming in right now. We'll do that after the interview. We'll do that off camera. I'm seeing your question popping. But thank you, Dr. Mahmood, for coming, and thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
In case you don't know, this is the man that his signature is on the currency with the central bank governor. So that's the man with the signature on the currency of the country with the governor of the central bank. So thank you both for coming. That's the much we can take on today's edition of the program. Thank you all for joining us. Please join us again tomorrow on this edition, another edition. I'll be having another guest and I'll be saying something else. Be the best you can be and be that change that you want to see. I am Nancy in Nigeria. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Bye now.
Thank you.
The evolution of our services started with you. Everything we've done since 2011 has been carefully considered with your financial goals in mind. Our financial universe is built upon two things: your financial goals and our values. By prioritizing integrity, transparency, and innovation along with our community, we empower you to achieve great things by leveraging worthwhile benefits. Our vision for you has become a reality as we've developed an ecosystem for investing. We hope that you find our rebranding to encompass those elements. If you thought that the first decade was great, wait until you see what we have in store for you in the next decade. Octra FX, focused on your goal.
Despite hues and cries about its warning of a looming terror attack in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, the United States has stuck to its gun regarding the alert. In an update to the alert, which it gave earlier, the U.S. asked family members of its employees who are residents in Abuja to leave immediately. It stated further that the U.S. mission is ready to evacuate its citizens from Nigeria over the terror attack. What is this? This is just creating panic, fear, and I don't think it's healthy the way the United States they are going about this thing. Yes, there's a lot of people feel that it would have been better to synergize with the